All right, so I got two new absolutely insane advertisements that were put out by two of the most openly and brazenly freakish conservatives in the entire country, both of whom happen to be from my home state here in Georgia. And so I'm going to show you these two advertisements, and we're going to talk about sort of the context of them and why this is happening, but also just the shocking entertainment value that is put into these advertisements. Because as Hassan was pointing out in this tweet here, it really is like they're just parodies of themselves, and they're taking what a leftist would do as a parody of Marjorie Taylor Greene or Brian Kemp, as we're going to get into these, and they're basically just running with whatever the most ridiculous caricature of themselves actually is. So here is Marjorie Taylor Greene from the state of Georgia in the House of Representatives.
Nancy Pelosi is sneaking the Green New Deal into the $3.5 trillion budget. And in 2022, I'm going to blow away the Democrat socialist agenda. Go to the website below and sign up to win my .50 caliber Pelosi.
Okay, so you see at the end she's giving away, or I guess selling off, this 50 cal that she was just shooting at that Prius, which is a nice little touch there, I guess. But she's selling off this 50 cal to try to raise money for her campaign. And actually, surprisingly so, Marjorie Taylor Greene is a very one of the top House Republicans in terms of fundraising because of ridiculous and crazy shit like this that grabs a bunch of attention. But listen, she kind of revealed the entire plot here in the very first sentence, right? She says, Nancy Pelosi, who she believes is a socialist, Nancy Pelosi is sneaking in the Green New Deal. As you can see from the bottom there, I know I'm cutting it off, but she's saying Nancy Pelosi is sneaking the Green New Deal into this $3.5 trillion budget deal. So first of all, the $3.5 trillion budget reconciliation bill is nothing compared to the Green New Deal. It's not even remotely comparable. I mean, there are tiny pieces of climate legislation that are likely going to be watered down by members of the Democratic Party like Joe Manchin, but it's nowhere even remotely close to the Green New Deal. So that's pretty obvious evidence that she has absolutely no idea what the contents of the Green New Deal actually are. But that is not surprising. She's never read a piece of legislation in her entire life. But on top of that, she thinks Nancy Pelosi, millionaire capitalist landlord Nancy Pelosi, who presides over the district with perhaps the most income inequality and wealth inequality in the entire country, the district with perhaps the worst homeless crisis in the entire country, this millionaire capitalist landlord Nancy Pelosi is a socialist in Marjorie Taylor Greene's mind, okay? Nancy Pelosi is in the leadership position that she is in right now within the Democratic Party, not because she is super effective at pushing a socialist agenda, but because she is a bulwark fundraiser for the Democratic Party. She is a good whip in that she gets her party in line with the agenda that she is trying to run on, as long as she is protecting a conservative agenda. But that's exactly what Nancy Pelosi is actually doing. Her and Chuck Schumer and Joe Biden and the rest of the Democratic establishment, Kamala Harris, they're all there because they are status quo defenders. And the status quo within the United States of America is, and always has been, capitalism, okay? So the idea that Nancy Pelosi is a socialist is outright absurd and ridiculous at face value. Not even our most left-leaning politicians within Congress, you know, the AOCs and the Ilhan Omars, identify openly as socialists. At most, they will identify as democratic socialists, similar to what Bernie Sanders did. None of them are socialists at all. So her ideology is incoherent, and she's basically just out here pushing violence in response to a secret socialist agenda that doesn't actually exist. So there's Marjorie Taylor Greene for you. And now, on to the other representative, the governor of my home state here in Georgia, Brian Kemp, and he put out a really similar advertisement to this when he was running for governor years ago. So I'm not sure if they recycled this, because basically Brian Kemp, after the 2020 election that Donald Trump lost, Donald Trump attacked him and called him a rhino Republican because Trump didn't think that he was sufficiently defending the big lie and the fact that Donald Trump, or the lie basically that Donald Trump won the election. And so now he's trying to appeal to those Republicans who he may have lost along the way by not defending Trump enough in the 2020 Georgia elections. And so he's putting out an advertisement like this to basically just drum up support from his base. And this is as much of a parody as you could possibly imagine, but this is actually real, okay? This is my governor. This is a real advertisement that he put out himself, willingly, fully, to try to represent himself and who he is as a person.
I'm Kemp. I'm so conservative, I blow up government spending. I own guns that no one's taking away. My chainsaw's ready to rip up some regulations. I got a big truck. just in case I need to round up criminal illegals and take them home myself. Yep, I just said that. I'm Brian Kemp. If you want a politically incorrect conservative, that's me. Brian Kemp.
Right, so you see exactly what he's doing there, right? He's trying to portray himself as if he is a Trump. Oh, I'm the loose-mouthed, crazy conservative who's going to shoot from the hip, and I don't care what the liberals say, and they're just going to get mad because I'm using this crazy language. That's what he's trying to do here, okay? He's portraying himself as a complete caricature. This obviously makes him look stupid and ridiculous to the vast majority of people who would watch this, but this isn't for the vast majority of people. This is for his rabid conservative Trump base that he is trying to win back. So that's pretty clear. But I mean, look at what he just fucking said there. I mean, Jesus Christ, this is where the even like more mainstream Republicans are right now. This is what has been done to this party, which was never a redeemable party throughout its entire history, but this is where it's at right now, okay? You got a Republican governor who is trying to drum up support from his base by talking about the fact that he has a pickup truck that he's going to round up illegal or criminal illegals or whatever the fuck he called them in the back of his truck and take them down to Mexico or whatever the fuck. That's what this guy is saying right now, okay? Ripping up what did he say? Ripping up regulations and all of that shit, right? I'm going to tear up regulations with my chainsaw. I'm going to be blowing up big government spending, etc. Okay? These people all have the same goddamn boring, stale, recycled conservative ideology from the days of Reagan. All it is tax cuts for the rich, tax cuts for the wealthy and corporations that run our government and that fund these people's campaigns, tax cuts for the wealthy, trickle down bullshit economics, Reaganomics, and racism basically. I mean, that's the double or the trifecta, I guess, that included with you got trickle down economics, you got a little bit of racism sprinkled in there, and then on top of that you have gutting regulations, and that would be sort of the trifecta from the Reagan days that is still continuing with the Republican Party and with the Democratic Party in many ways, but especially the Republican Party. It's the same old recycled talking points, it just in a different way of framing it. It's the same old tired agenda that they've been running on for decades and decades and decades, and that somehow they still think is going to be inspiring to their base, and hell, maybe it will be, because this guy did actually win an election as the governor to become the governor of Georgia. Marjorie Taylor Greene obviously represents a very weird part of Georgia, right there up in the north. Yeah, I mean, both of these people won their elections. They are in the positions they are because a sufficient amount of the American people believe in the messaging that you just saw. And yeah, it's just absolutely depressing and ridiculous that this is where we're at. Not just for the Republican Party, an absolute embarrassment, obviously, but the fact that this type of rhetoric has become so mainstream, it's just, we're in a really shitty spot right now.